Hey, folks, welcome back to Excelsior. So, we are at the end of the dungeon. I've reloaded the last save, and we had indeed missed a hint. I went back to Grathel and I reloaded the earlier save. Good thing I always make full use of the 10 save slots. And with the magic ear that I had to get again, I have talked to all the people again in Grathel, the monsters, and there's one more guy who tells you something, and that is something we had missed, indeed. I've decided not to upload this because that was just a little tedious thing, and I can just tell you the hint that we got. He tells you a word, which is a useless word, actually. It might actually just be a sequence of letters. It's Cavengber. 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 Something like that. So it doesn't really make sense. But that is the other clue that you get from Grathel. I'm not really quite sure how that translates to the clock. We're going to have to figure this out. I kind of forgot how this worked, so let's just try this again. So let's use the key and use the clock. Set the clock to 1 to 13. It's 13. Yeah, of course, we had the earlier thing, the earlier riddle, where a day has 13 hours in Lysandia, I think. Oh well, that's actually a nice bit of continuity there. So, 13. But that doesn't really help us with Cavengber. So we have to do something with the letters again, I'm pretty sure. 13... Oh yeah, there's AM and PM. So it's actually 26 and we have 26 letters. Huh. Yeah, sure. That makes sense. That makes sense. So, so maybe we have to set the clock to whatever corresponds to the letter on the clock, right? If we just... I hope it's as simple as that. So A would be 1, B would be 2, and so on. And then ABC. M would be 13. And N... By that logic, N would be 1 again. And that would go all the way up to Z. Or Z. Depending where you are from. And that would be 13 again. Yes, right? So let's do this. Set the clock to... Oh dear. I need to, just that I don't fuck this up. 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have A, B, C, D. M, N, Y, and Z. There we go. So, so we have C, which would then be a 3. Use the clock again, 1 clock. We have an A, which would be a 1. We wind the clock again for a V. There would be a 9. Use clock. And then E, which would be a 5. Use clock. We have an N, which would be a 1. We have a G. A G, which would be a 7. We have a B, which would be a 2. We have a E, which would be a 5 again. And we have an R, which is also a 5. Bingo, that works. Ah, I'm so glad. Oh. The moment the clock finishes chiming 5 o'clock, the fire pits in the room take on a deeper red glow. Before you can react, the flames erupt around you with a deafening roar. The heat quickly becomes unbearable. Right as soon as you feel that you may pass out, the inferno subsides. Standing before you in the fire now sits the banishing sword. Banishment sword. What the fuck? Did we get the... Yes, we have the sword. And at least they take you out of the dungeon immediately. Oh! Crikey. Oh god, I'm glad that this was relatively quick. And it wasn't quite that quick for me, because I had to go back to fucking Grethel. With an old save game, no less, because we don't have the ear again. That's also kind of bullshit, right? If you miss the one guy in Grethel, you can't get the hint again if you didn't save. Good thing that I saved. Alright, so, I guess we will now go back to Intungo, right? Let me just quickly get out my Lysandia map again. There we go. Oh yeah, that was just... I could have done this myself. I kind of know my way around by now, but yeah. So, let's go back to Intungo and let's see what those guys have to tell us. Let's see. Oh, I wonder what else we're gonna do. I think now that we have finished Iron Thread, we kind of did most of everything. I think we did all the dungeons, so there can't be much more left. Actually, right? Am I seeing this wrong? I don't think so. So, yeah, let's see what these guys are telling us. I mean, this could still be, hey, visit every town again. Because we hate you. But, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Oh no, fuck off. Fuck you. Please don't put me to sleep and kill me. That would not be nice. It would be kind of embarrassing. Can we actually equip... no, what was equip? Wield? No, that was wear. Ready a weapon. Yes. Banishment sword. Can we also ready the Avenger? No. Well, let's keep that for now. I think we have to... the banishment sword is probably very particular, of very particular use. Okay, so let's go back to Intungo and... let's do the thing. Let's talk to Sebastian again, I guess. Oh, I hope the game is not much longer. I hope there's not another giganto quest. I hope there isn't. Hey, boy. Seize the great sword you wield, yes. This is a day to remember. You, my friend, have displayed cunning and perseverance, as opposed to you, who has done nothing, beyond the norm. Beyond the norm. That's a weird compliment. I believe now that the chaotic entity controlling the body and mind of King Valkyrie can be banished forever. The day of renewal has arrived, and I can think of none more qualified than yourself. Of course, why not? Anybody? Sure. To face the final challenge, you will need but 4 items: the glistening elixir, which we have, the gem of severance, the crystal jar, and the banishment sword. As I'm sure you know, exercise caution, for the powers they hold are immeasurable. Now, the time has come to pay King Valkyrie a final visit. Be gone, and may the stars shine brightly upon you. I mean, I could just fuck everything up, become the king, and be the worst tyrant ever. I mean, why not, right? Oh no, taking the wrong direction. Once more. One last time, I guess. And let's go find the king, right? The king's probably in his castle. And let's banish the bastard. Oh, this might be the end of the game! Now I'm getting kind of excited. Whew. This might be the end. But first we have to sail around the world. Probably one last time. Probably. Oh god, I hope so. Oh dear Christ, I hope so. Okay, so that's the Forgotten Pits, indeed. Let's go around. God, the last dungeon. That thing was... Dear me. That... Oh god. Like I was... Yeah. I love stuff like that. I love mapping out dungeons, for example. I love mapping out stuff on graph paper and so on. You can't really do that. The graph paper thing does not really work out here, but generally I love that. It was still kind of bullshit. Also, we took the one, like taking the one wrong thing, and it takes you all the way back to the beginning. That was kind of crazy. But, well, I guess if I had continued doing that, at some point we would have found it. It would just probably have taken like 5 more videos or something. So I don't feel too bad about consulting the walkthrough there. I don't feel bad about consulting the walkthrough in any event during this playthrough. So yeah, I still feel that I have conquered this game. So yeah. But much kudos to the one who's written the thing. Let me just quickly see who that was. It is by Mosc, M-O-S-C. So, yeah, thank you so much. You have saved my hide. I think there were only like 3 instances or something where I took a peek. Where I was always transparent when I did. I think that's important. And, yeah, that was... I would probably have given up if I didn't do that, so yeah. Alright, so let's bring this to an end. We are at the hut of person. It's kind of nice that it basically takes you back to Castle Excelsior. And to just, you know, bring the whole thing full circle, I guess. We could go back to Oublier before we do anything else, but nah. I just want this to end. Let's not. Okay, so. Oh, there's another horse. Here we are. Okay. How about we save the game? Here he is. Alt S. We save the game to 7. LP 35. That's a nice round number. Talk to the king. Shine in a demonic way as he stares off into space. Yeah, he's in a bad spot. Let's ready the banishment sword. Let's use probably the gem of severance, right? Whoops, whoops, whoops. Oh yeah, now we go. Okay, so this is going to be the finale, I guess. You apply all your might to the pulsating gem and it breaks neatly into halves. A moment later you notice something singular about the king. He appears somewhat out of focus, a trick of the eyes no doubt. But soon the reason becomes apparent. His Majesty's very body begins to vibrate at an incredible frequency. The vibrations continue and the king brings his hands to his head. You fear he's being torn in two, as was the gem. But no, two people, each identical to the king you knew, emerge as the violent vibrations subside. Their features, however, appear quite different. The king in the foreground appears to be evil incarnate, dark, menacing and remorseless. The one behind epitomizes a sovereign majesty and commands respect. Despite this, he stands motionless, eyes glazed over, in some sort of trance. The Dark King wails. "There's no escape for you now, foolish one. You should have known better than to tamper with the forces of chaos. Prepare thyself, mortal, you will not survive long." In a fury, the Dark King stands and draws his sword. And there we go. And that's the Dark King? Yes, it is. Yes, we can attack him. He misses us. That works. So let's attack him. I wonder what the elixir is actually for. Let's heal up. He hits us for more. Let's use the elixir. Makes you oh, it gives you 999 health. Okay, that's what that's all about. So let's hit him, and we kill him. And that was rather easy. The Dark King slowly falls to the floor, arms outstretched. His wounds are severe. A final attempt to invoke a spell results in a faint crackle of the air and a light blue glow engulfing his body. He struggles and gasps for air, then speaks as best as he can. "This is truly my last breath, and I use it to condemn you, fool. I am defeated, perhaps, but true chaos is not a material being. It will live on." We still have the crystal jar, we probably have to use that soon. "It will live on stronger than ever, for your anger toward me merely strengthens it. You have failed." With the final convulsion, the Dark King expires. From inside his body, an ethereal being emerges and floats overhead. It is the very entity which drove him to madness. It attacks us again. Chaotic entity hits you for 65 points of damage. Let's use the crystal jar now. Yes. With a charge of adrenaline, you open the jar and hold it tight. A strong wind begins to gush into the vacuum of absolute nothingness within. Objects from around the room are sucked inside. The sound of the rushing air is nearly deafening. Mere breathing becomes quite a task, but your determination to destroy the chaotic entity enables you to overlook this fact. Sure, that's worded weirdly. The chaotic presence before you quivers and shakes rapidly, straining to keep from being drawn into the swirling vortex. Vortex? Vortex? Vortex. It is slowly stretched grotesquely out of proportion as it gives a last futile effort to avoid being wholly enveloped. With a blood-curdling wail, the chaotic entity is at last ripped apart and pulled inside the jar. With great effort, you manage to replace the lid. The tapestries on the walls begin to settle down once again into their usual positions. The king, remaining in the room, awakens from his state of non-sentience with a start. He takes a cursory glance at his surroundings and then approaches you. His Majesty speaks. "I do not know who you are, or from whence you came, but I must thank you. The chaotic force weighing down on my brain, on my being has been lifted, and I am once again in full control of my actions. I feel a substantial reward is being called for. Jesus, your cunning and bravery has restored order to this land once again. With respect, I must decline the offer, you say. Seeing that order and rationality prevail is all the reward I need." Rationality is an illusion, my friends. Very well, says the king. Alas, I have much to attend to. I have no idea what chaos now runs in my land, and I must be quick to lead the people back in the proper direction. Once again, you have my sincere appreciation. You bow before his majesty, and then experience an odd feeling of lightheadedness, which you at first attribute to your deprivation of oxygen. But the true origin soon becomes clear. In a whirl of ectoplasm, your temporal reality is again shifted. Fixer, your return has been anticipated, declares Kelt, as he materialized before the Great Council. Oh well. That has been a while ago. You have news regarding the situation on... He tries to remember, but soon sighs in defeat. Tell me, will you? Lysandia, you say. Yes, how quaint. Well, has the minor deviation from the planet's planned history been corrected? You humbly recite in detail. In the detail? Okay, the extent of your journey, culminating in the banishment of the chaotic presence, invading the throne, and the return of the legitimate king. Excellent, I must say. Agree, council? Almost in unison, the entire council nods their heads and answers, aye. Kelt resumes. Judging by your possessions, you fared quite well in your journey. But of course, they are the things of mortal beings, and won't do well here. He snaps his fingers, and the extent of your material possessions garnered on Lysandia vanish. You do not mind. You were given an assignment and have completed it well. Review time nears for you, Fixer. Although you are still somewhat of a novice, I will not hesitate to recommend you for promotion. Well done, declares Kelt. You slowly step out of the hall, twirling the memories of your adventure around in your mind as you go. Congratulations! You have completed Excelsior Phase One Lysandia in... It counts it, okay, in 87,798 moves. Report the achievement to Castle Software. Your name will be added to the registry of fixers. I probably won't do that. Your success makes you a potential candidate for resolving future cosmic disturbances in Excelsior Phase 2. And that's it. I finished this fucking game. I did it. I finished it. I've got through. That was a test of endurance. Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's Excelsior Phase 2, obviously. I don't know if I'm ever gonna play Excelsior Phase 2. You can buy the game still. That's probably something I might do if I ever... I don't know, it will be... I need to play other stuff. I can't play Excelsior Phase 2 immediately after this. I don't know what I'm gonna do next, but... For now, I finished this game. I'm glad, and that's that. So, yeah, that was something. There's some, I don't know. This is not a very good game, right? This was just, I would not have played through the game if I did not record it, and if I did not like take this as a endurance challenge and just to prove to myself that I can get through this. I think there are a lot of things wrong with the game. None of them is too severe, but all of them together work together in a way that makes this a total slog. And it's kind of interesting how it does that, because you know, oftentimes you have games that have a lot of systems, and they work together really well and make the game more than the sum of its parts. I think here, the flaws of the game sort of work together to make the game less than the sum of its parts in a way. And that's a pity, because there's some really cool stuff here. I love the way the game looks, and the world is cool. I love Lysandia as a continent. That's really great, you know? And the towns are cool, and they're... like, stuff is rather distinct in the way that stuff can be distinct with a limited tile set like this one. And there's a lot of personality in the game, and that's really cool. And that's something that has not, like, that a lot of RPGs, even more modern RPGs, do not have. So that's awesome. But, like, the way, like, the RPG systems are not good, right? Like, the meat and potato systems do not work. Like, the economics do not work. You can break it immediately. Like, That was one of the first things I found out in the game, that we could sell stuff for more than buying it from the same person. So, well, that's that. So all that stuff is basically useless. And especially, like, in the end you get the banishment sword and you get the elixir. And I think it would not have mattered what kind of class we play, because everyone will end up in the same spot, right? So all that stuff is just perfunctory and it doesn't work. And that's bad for an RPG. Also, when you walk around, like, the way the overworld and the enemy spawning is handled is really, it just assaults you with a barrage of stuff, because it constantly just spawns in enemies at the edge of the screen. And that makes going around the world really tedious after a while. And that really does not work well together with, on the one hand, the systems of the game, because fighting enemies becomes totally useless. You level up, I mean, you can reach max level really quickly in the game. We could have done this much earlier. And you get the best equipment, or almost the best equipment. Equipment that is enough to murder everything with no problem at all. We wouldn't actually have needed the Avenger. Like, the speed blades were enough to kill everything. And so everything just becomes a slog, because fighting things in itself is not fun, because they just stop you in your tracks. And even on the, like, reward system level, you don't get anything out of it. But nonetheless, they are spawned in constantly, so the only thing the enemies do in the overworld for most of the game is slow you down. And that is bad. And of course, then there's the other issue, the quest structure of the game. So what the game always does is, it's pretty linear in a way. So the quests are kind of linear. You have to do this, then you have to do this, then you have to do this, then you have to do this. Sometimes you can do multiple things at once, but you basically just cross them off a checklist. And every quest just takes you around the world. All the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. And nonsensically so, right? You go back to another dungeon, and then you go to the next dungeon, and then you have to go back to the dungeon again, then to a town, and then back to the dungeon again to get something else, but you couldn't do it all at once. And yeah, that just made the game a huge, huge slog. And that's the main problem with Excelsior Phase One. So that's why I'm saying it's not a very good game. It's an alright game. I don't know. I think if you want, I think it's fun for the first 5 hours or something. You know, the beginning of the game when everything is new and you are exploring the world and it's kind of exciting. And then you see that nothing leads to anything and everything is just the slog. And that's a pity. But I'm glad I finished the game. I'm glad I have finished a Let's Play of Excelsior Phase 1. I think this is the first finished Let's Play of the game on YouTube. So that's cool. And there's another person who does a Let's Play of this right now. I think he has also a Let's Play of Excelsior Phase 2. So yeah. So much for that. I've actually, as I said, I've actually bought the game. You can still buy the game. It's still rather, I don't know, what did I pay for that? It was 10 or 15 or 20, around that. That's kind of, I mean, it's a long game, but that's kind of, I don't know if I would recommend that. Well, that's that. Yeah, I think I might be done now. This is it. The game is finished. It's done. It's in the books. And now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go outside, actually. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to go to the park and just get some vitamin D from the sun and so on. I need that. Alright, thanks and see you. Bye bye.